Welcome back, everyone. It's Daniel again from Best Bible Commentaries. In this video, I'm going to cover the best reviewed commentaries on the general epistles, the writings of John, or the letters of John, and the book of Revelation, and then I'm going to add in some other recommendations as well. So this is video 3 of 3 in this short series on the best reviewed commentaries on each New Testament book. I'm going to put links down in the description to these commentaries, so if you're interested in getting one, using one of those links supports the channel at no extra cost to you. So I invite you to like the video if you like it, leave a comment, and subscribe if you like. All right, so there's going to be a short test in a minute. I'm just giving you fair warning. Prepare yourself for this short test, and I'll explain why I have 2 commentaries here on both of these books. Okay. The best reviewed commentary on the book of Hebrews is by William Lane. It's a 2-volume commentary from the Word Biblical Commentary series. It is, I'm just showing you 1 volume, and it was written in the early 90s, but still it is considered, I would consider it the best reviewed commentary on the book of Hebrews. If you're looking for interaction with recent scholarship, of course, you're not going to find that, or you're not going to find it, it's 35 years old, right? So it could use an update, I suppose, but the interaction, the exegesis is what this commentary is known for. So Lane's interaction with the Greek, his explanations are very beneficial to scholars, but also pastors. I think pastors who have used this in their ministry have benefited from it. That's kind of the general consensus. So whether you're in ministry or you're a student and you're looking for a commentary on Hebrews, it's really, Lane's 2 volumes are really in a tier by themselves in terms of the reviews. So whether it's perfect for your purposes, you'll have to decide that. But just in terms of reviews, there's kind of Lane and then everyone else. And there's some really good commentaries on Hebrew. That's not to criticize other work. The best reviewed commentary on the book of James is by Douglas Moo, and it's in the Pillar New Testament Commentary series. I think this one was written in the early 2000s, and I have recommended, yes, early 2000s. I have recommended this commentary to lay people, and they have done just fine with it. So it would benefit, it's targeted at pastors, of course, but it would benefit people in a small group or a Sunday school class. There's less Greek in this volume and in this series than in other mid-level commentary series. So if you want more Greek with regard to the book of James, you want to look at series like the BECNT or the Word Biblical Commentary series. If you're looking for more theological reflection, the Pillar series, more application, the NIV Application Commentary series. But the book that I think is second to Moo's in James as far as best reviews is part of the recommendation. So I pulled that out specifically. So I'll show that in a minute. All right. The best reviewed commentary on 1 Peter is from Karen Jobes, and this is the BECNT. So there's, again, less theological reflection, though there is some, and more interaction and explanation of the Greek. It's very helpful. Jobes is extremely helpful. She is an expert in New Testament Greek. One of her areas of expertise is the Septuagint, and that the insights that she brings from that area of work into her commentaries is very helpful. So I'm hoping that she'll write more New Testament commentaries. She has written Old Testament commentaries. She wrote Esther in the NIV Application Commentary series, but I hope that she will continue to write New Testament commentaries because her expertise in the Greek really stands out. So that's definitely mid-level. I think pastors would do fine with it. Lay people, I think it kind of depends on your experience with Bible resource literature. All right, here's the test. So look at the titles. What is the difference in the titles of these commentaries? This is the best reviewed commentary on 2 Peter and Jude. and this is a close second. But the reason why I'm showing you this is so you can see the difference in how the books are ordered. Jude and 2 Peter, and 2 Peter and Jude. The reason why some commentaries on these books list Jude before 2 Peter, which is not the canonical order, right, is because they're kind of tipping their hand as to how they interpret these two books. In other words, Bauckham believes that Jude is the first written, and 2 Peter is dependent upon Jude. So he will give explanation for Jude and then describe or explain 2 Peter in light of using Jude as a source. So that's how they explain the similarities and differences between the books. Bauckham thinks it's easier to explain Jude first and then 2 Peter. So there are others. The BECNT, I think, is also Jude, 2 Peter, but I think most are 2 Peter and Jude. And so, and this may or may not, when it's in this order, it may or may not reflect the author's view on the order of writing. I think most commentary series will just typically go with the canonical order. So when a title is not in a canonical order, that's usually a tip of the hand. So again, this is the best reviewed. This is, I think, being updated. I think I exchanged emails with the person who is updating it. I think he teaches at Biola, if I remember correctly, and there wasn't a published a date yet. I should have looked before I started this video, but there is an update. I don't think it's out yet, but there is an update to this volume. I would describe Bauckham as mildly critical, still within the evangelical camp, but still mildly critical. So there's a lot of interaction with Greek in this. So this would be an alternative if you didn't want as much interaction with Greek, if you wanted more reflection and application. But nevertheless, I think Bauckham is pretty clearly still the best reviewed commentary on those two books of the Bible. Next up is the best reviewed commentary on the letters of John by Colin, Kruse. I think this came out in the early 2000s. Oh, actually, this is a second edition. So the second edition just came out a couple years ago. So that was kind of one of the criticisms that I would sometimes read about this being so well reviewed, is that it was just a little bit dated. But yeah, updated in 2020. So wonderful theology, of course, in 1 John, and 2nd and 3rd John as well, but most of the book is covering 1 John, just because of the length of the biblical books. So in a series that really emphasizes theological reflection, you can see why this would be have the best reviews. So this is 1 John compared to 2nd and 3rd John. That's pretty typical allotment in commentaries on those writings, on the writings of John. Best reviewed commentary on the book of Revelation. Again, I think this is pretty clear. I don't think it's a contest. It's G.K. Beale's Revelation volume in the NIGTC series. This, I'll give you an alternative to this in just a second, but there's a lot of scholarship in this book, a lot of interaction with scholarship in this book, a lot of interaction with Greek, a lot of interaction with the Old Testament's Revelation's use of the Old Testament, because that is a concern. That is an emphasis in Beale's scholarship, which I think with Revelation is very helpful. If I remember correctly, it's Revelation and Hebrews are like 1 and 2 in terms of how often they quote or allude to the Old Testament. So Beale is bringing a strength to the book of, he's bringing his strengths, his expertise, I should say, to this commentary. Now, this is a big commentary. It's an expensive commentary. It's over 1,200 pages in length. I even wonder if most pastors would benefit from this resource. It would, not that they couldn't read it, it would just take a lot more time maybe to find what they were looking for in terms of helpfulness to ministry, but it's definitely worth having on your shelf. Beale is amillennial, by the way. Now, let me get to the other recommendations, because the first one is actually going to be Beale again. So this is called a shorter commentary. Revelation, a shorter commentary by G.K. Beale. Same publisher. So this is a mid-level version of this book. So if you are a layperson interested in this book, or a pastor who would be using this book more for ministry purposes, this would be a very good option, and it's probably half the price. It is a little over 500 pages in length, but I have compared the two, and what's in here is word for word what's in here. It's just, of course, there's just sections on scholarship. There's no Greek. There's sections on scholarship that are just deleted, and then there's no Greek in this volume either. Now, it's still G.K. Beale. It's still a work of scholarship, so that doesn't mean that lay people will automatically be able to understand it. But I call it not an introductory, but a mid-level option if you're interested in this book. But technically, this is the volume that is the best reviewed on the book of Revelation. All right, let me give you a few others. I'm going to give you another one on Revelation, since that's a book that most people are interested in having a commentary on. And I recently did a review comparing Grant Osborne and Thomas Schreiner's new Revelation commentaries, and so I thought I would show something different. I think the ordering for best reviewed is Beale, then Osborne, and then Mounce. And this is mid-level. It is has some wonderful theological reflection in it. There is some Greek in it, but it's not overwhelming. So those who don't know Greek, I think, would do okay with it. There is some interaction with modern scholarship, but Robert Mounce is just incredible with adding reflection, even to the point of like devotional reflection, in the midst of writing at a scholarly level. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about him, whether I'm using a commentary for ministry purposes or not. I appreciate the heart of the writer, the heart of the commentator coming through as he's explaining Scripture. I like to see how the text impacts the writer, and it kind of just makes it not so dry. Next up is another recommendation on the book of Hebrews, and this is in the NIV Application Commentary series, and it's by George Guthrie. There is wonderful explanation of the text in this volume. I wouldn't say that's the case with all commentaries in this series, but George Guthrie does a really good job of exegesis and explaining the text, and of course, true to the series title, there is an emphasis on applying the text. So if you are a pastor, if you are in ministry and you're looking for a helpful tool to teach Hebrew or preach through Hebrews, I think this is a wonderful resource. Putting this and Lane together would give you the Greek, and it would give you the application and kind of everything in between. So it's a wonderful resource. All right. An option for James is in the ZECNT series, and it's by Craig Blomberg and Miriam Kamel. I'm not sure if I'm saying that name correctly. Miriam Kamel, who was, I think, was a student of Craig Blomberg. I think she's written some other commentaries since this one. I absolutely love this series. You know that if you watch my channel. It's mid-level. There's some Greek, but not too much. I actually think lay people would do okay with this, most volumes in this series, and I think would do okay with this volume on James as well. So there is a good amount of exegesis, but each passage also has this theology and application section, which is really helpful to those in ministry. So it's not giving you things like illustrations or quotes that you can take right to the pulpit, but it's giving you a great head start in applying the text and seeing its relevancy to today. So for your consideration. All right, so those are some recommendations, and let me know what you think and what your favorite commentaries are on these books of the Bible in the comment section, and I'll see you next time.